All right, so we're on the YouTubes now. My name's Travis. I'm from OverDose Vapes. Got a couple guests with me. This is Obeast-Mode Live number 7. This is the one about mech mods. Let's talk about mechs, baby. You know, that kind of deal. we got Yeti's uncle here with us, and we got Skeletor from WTF Vaping or WTF Vapors. I'm sorry, WTF Network.
Yeah, now it's WTF Network. It's kind of weird.
I'll keep up with you. I'll get it one of these days.
Well, hell, I'll even get it one of these days.
Well, that's like my website. You know, it took him forever to figure out how to say my website, and then once he got it down to where he got my website with no problem, I changed the URL.
I know, that was fucking bullshit. I finally got it, like the vapeshack.org, all the crazy stuff, and now it's just.
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's YetiWire.com now, right?
Yep. Quick and easy, nice and simple.
YetiWire.com. Okay, good.
Yep.
And if anybody doesn't know, Jeremy is, or you know, Skeletor. We've known him for a long time. He's been part of the OverDose family forever. You know, so he's a good friend of the channel, and we're really happy to have him here. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and everything, Jeremy, and let them know.
All right, cool. Yeah, my name's Skeletor. You can find me on WTFnetwork.info YouTube channel. I also have the URL purchased for that finally, which I want to start streaming a lot of shit through there. But for the most part, you know, on Sundays, my wife and I do a Sunday shenanigans cut up type thing because life is just too motherfucking serious. And we, you know, feel that people need to laugh every once in a while. But for the most part, I do mainly vape reviews. As a matter of fact, one of the first channels I ever watched was you guys on OverDose Vapes. And, you know, y'all were pretty much, other than like Twisted 420, were my inspiration to getting in and trying a whole shit ton of juice. And I just kind of picked up the YouTube thing and off it went. It was just one of those things where I was like, hey, let's have fun with this. And oh my God, what do you mean I have all these subscriptions and people wanting to watch me? Like, I look like half a meth head. You want to watch me?
Hold on one second. I got somebody knocking on my fucking door. You guys go ahead and fill the air there.
Word, no problem. But yeah, you know, Travis asked me to come on Obeast-Mode tonight. And I was like, fuck yeah. I wanted to do a collabo with
that's
collabo with
classic
OBD for a while. So, you know, we did something a little bit last year. It kind of got fucked up by other people, but now the other people are no longer around fucking shit up. So it's all good.
Yeah, like the things that happened was never between Skeletor and OverDose Vapes or OverDose Vapes and Skeletor. We've always maintained a friendship more than anything else. You know what I mean? And there's been some, you know, there's some shady fucking people, not only in YouTube, but also just in the vape industry in general. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and when you get your feet in that shit, and that's what happens. But we're really happy to have Skeletor here. That was really funny. That was a kid trying to sell chocolate. Normally, I probably would have bought some, but
he's just a little late. Just a little.
I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it to you real quick, dude. I can't buy any chocolate from you right now.
We're like in the middle of a show and stuff, but it's weird like that. So yeah, no chocolate today, brother. Sorry.
And Yeti, why don't you go ahead and tell them? I mean, we already said your website, but go ahead and let them know what they can find there, and you know, exactly the URL and all that stuff.
All right. I am Yeti's uncle. I am the coil builder for YetiWire.com. I've got some. Oh man, I've got all kinds of stuff up there. There's stainless steel fuse Claptons, several different you know, wraps of fuse Claptons. I've got some nichrome fuse Claptons, aliens. What else do I have? Staggered fuse Claptons, tank track, and this week there will be an oh, I've got Helix on there too. And this week there'll be an addition week. So hopefully something really, really juicy coming out this week.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And that's at YetiWire.com.
Excellent. No, it's I mean, I'll attest. His coils are fucking pretty amazing. You know, it's like all the other big name coil builders, same fucking quality. It's, I mean, if not better, and you're not going to pay those premium prices. Like, you're not paying $20 for a set of coils. So I highly recommend Yeti, and his cat tracks and shit like that are fucking so dope. I use them all the time. So
thank you. Yeah, that's I got to thinking, you know, a lot of, I've got a philosophy behind the whole idea, and we're not going to get into that, but it's not a direct competition in any way. But I wanted to put out things that you can't typically get on most, you know, handmade coil sites. You know, like I don't know of anybody that sells cat tracks.
no.
You know, and it's a badass coil. It's an awesome coil. You know, I think there should be more of them out there myself. But so that's why I wanted to make them available. And what I'm hoping to put out this week, I don't know if anybody's selling. So we shall see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's for damn sure.
That's all you can tell us, or what?
Yeah, as of yet.
It's a secret.
Well, I've done it before and opened my mouth prematurely, and it's cost me greatly. So I'm going to try to hold off on that for the time being.
Understandably so.
Does anybody else hear that sound?
I do. Maybe it's Yeti's fan.
Could be.
Here, let's try that.
No, I'm hearing it still.
Yeah, me too.
I'll mute myself and I still hear it, so. Oh, there it goes. And then it's gone. All right.
That was my fan.
I guess it was.
And like that, we figured it out.
And just one more thing about Yeti's coils is that I am a builder. I love to build. You know what I mean? People know that shit. I have even sold coils at certain points. But there are coils that not. I can make them, but I don't want to make them. They're a fucking pain. They're a drag. It's no fun. Like aliens and cat tracks. And so, you know, it's convenient to buy them from Yeti. But also there is one build I can't make, and that's the frame staple. I can make it, I can Clapton it all out, but I can't wrap it. Once I start wrapping it, it just all comes like a part inside. And so that is one coil that like I love, but there's no way that I can make it myself. So that's what Yeti's so great about, you know, like he can make shit that maybe you don't have the time, you maybe don't have the patience, or maybe you just can't do it like me. I just can't do it. So
see, that's another thing is I love making those things. All the frame coils, all the staples, the aliens, I can bust aliens out like nothing.
that's crazy shit. It'd take me an hour, and I have to fucking use the swivels, and it's a whole fucking nightmare. So
right.
Street
But that
justice,
just comes.
Yeah. I mean, it comes with time, I guess. And once you get to where you can make the actual like decoring the Claptons really quick and just getting all that actual alien wire made to do the aliens with, I think that's like half the battle. But then doing a fuse that has 3 pieces of wire, that's not easy either. So
see, that's the thing. I'll agree with you on that. Actually, I'll agree with you with everything. It's just it all comes down to experience. Because I had a problem with all of it too when I first started making them. But then you pick up little tricks and you see what you're like if you have a problem with the 3 wires, you know, staying parallel. If you have an issue with that, you know, you try to eliminate it. You know, like how I eliminate it on like ribbon wire. How I keep ribbon wire stacked up is with another piece of ribbon. I'll you know, I wrap it around it really tight. I wrap it in the middle and on the ends. And then I'll come back and put my frames on, and I'll wrap them on,
That's smart.
just on the 2 ends. And then because you can slide that ribbon down as you're clapping it up, you know.
Yeah,
it comes with time.
Getting it made, and like I said, all that I can get it. You know, it's not easy, but I can use like masking tape to hold the pieces of flat wire down and all that shit, and getting it clapped in. But there's just something about that first wrap. It just always like goes, and you know it's sticking out all the fucking wire. So it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But you know that doesn't mean I can't make good coils. Like what I got in here. I mean, you guys probably can't see it, of course, because I have a shitty webcam. But it's a parallel coil, but the two pieces of wire I used were fused Claptons. So it's got 4 pieces of wire all together, and then I wrapped all that shit with flat wire, and I did 4 wraps. It's a single coil in the goo, and it's probably like about 0.06.
So it's like an armored fused Clapton.
Yeah, or like a fused flat bastard is what I always call them.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, transformer coil almost.
Yeah.
Almost. Like a, yeah. That's interesting.
It's, you know, I just like, I kind of cheat a lot of times. I can make fused Claptons pretty easily, but I'll buy the fused Clapton wire from Lightning Vapes. Because then it allows me to think about different builds. Like, hey, I don't have to make the fused Clapton wire to make this crazy build. It takes a whole step out of the process. It makes it super easy for me, so I love that.
Yep, I get that.
So let's. Oh, go ahead. You were gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just saying I get that. I understand what you're saying. That makes total sense.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get into the topic. We're talking about mech mods. Me and Yeti were talking. We were gonna do like a show for like beginner people. And we probably still will, but then Yeti's like, hey, how about we do one about mechs? And it's kind of like the opposite. It's like not for beginner people. It's more for like people who like mech mods. But that's where we're going with this. We love mech mods. All 3 of us are mech mod fanatics. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about we're going to do a little show and tell, what we have, what we recommend. You know, affordable stuff that we recommend. Dream mods that we wish we could get but we can't afford, or you know, mods that we do have that are super expensive and nice, and just some advice, you know, some recommendations like battery recommendations, build recommendations, because a mech mod is like a whole different subset of vaping, and it requires different builds, it requires different batteries a lot of times. You know, at least I use that kind of stuff. So
right.
But I guess we'll start with is like a little show and tell. So why don't we start with Skeletor, because you're at the end of my little thing here, and you can show us what you're using tonight.
Alrighty. Well, I just have the my box mechs set up tonight, but I do own a couple of tubes as well. In a nutshell, I've got 2 parallel boxes and an unregulated series box in front of me right now. I've got my authentic tugboat parallel. I like this little fucker. I use it a lot. Then, of course, on Saturdays when it's college football season, got my Gator box, which we were postponed this weekend for the stupid hurricane. And then this is my Dark Vapes Crimson Dragon unregulated. It's a custom series unregulated box. I actually put this on here for I had this already.
That's pretty beautiful.
Yeah. I love this thing. I got my little Comp Vape Seminole on top of it. But this is one of my favorites that I use quite often. My other favorite that I use all the time is it's a series mod, and it's a mech mod, but it's potentiometer regulated.
Ooh, yeah.
And that's my new thing.
So like semi-mechanical.
Yeah, it's semi-mechanical. Yeah. And then when it comes to my tube mechs, you know, I've got the Sub-Zero Legendary, which needs to be cleaned like a motherfucker.
That's nice.
And then something that not a lot of people nobody can get a hold of anymore, but they don't make them anymore, is my Manhattan V2.
Oh, I got the same thing.
Hybrid.
I got the hybrid one, right here.
Yeah, my copper hybrid. I love this thing.
Continuous current's out. I mean, they're done.
They're done. Joey
Jokes
is doing the whole, you know, I guess he took over continuous currents inventory, turned it, you know, put everything under Duvo. And I like Joey. He's a short little fucker. I met him back in April, and when, you know, I had conversations with him over Instagram and shit like that when he was coming to town. And then when I finally met him, I didn't realize how short he was, but he didn't realize how tall I was. And I goes, dude, I need a picture with you. And as he's talking to me, because, you know, he was turning around, somebody said, hey, here's Skeletor. He's like, man, I need a picture with, and then he saw me. He's like, 6 foot tall. He's a little guy.
That's
His
funny
clouds are only 6-foot clouds, but he's only 5 foot tall, so it looks like it's bigger than he is.
shit.
He's cool though. I love that guy. He's
I dig the Jux mod too. You know, the Jux mod was like one of Continuous Current's cheaper mods, but it was actually a really good mod still. So
yeah, it was like what, $80?
yeah, it was less than 100. That's for sure. So
Yeah, that with the Duke that he came out with was a great combo.
yeah, we got one too. Actually, when we were at ECC last year, we did a whole video about it. We have one of these Manhattan V2s in blue, and it was actually Josh's. We traded something for it to the guys from Continuous Current, and when we were at ECC, you know, a little, you know, and so Josh has had it for a long time, but he just never used it. And so I had a DNA 200 that I bought from somebody in the group, Dan Carneal, and I offered Josh. I'm like, hey, let's trade. And so I finally got my hands on it. I've wanted it for so long. I've really like envied him because I love the Manhattan V2. The Manhattan V1 was cool, but like people, you know, always called it the pipe bomb and all that shit because it didn't have venting.
Yeah.
But it was still like one of the first like this mod is made to chuck kind of things. You know what I mean? That like people came out with. And so the V2 is a good continuation of that. I love this mod. It's a great mod.
Is that a goon that you have on top of there?
It absolutely is, yeah.
Now, my question is that's an authentic continuous and an authentic goon, and it fits?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it fits perfectly. It looks like it was made for it.
Yeah, because, you know, the reason why the continuous current V2 has that little lip is for 22s, and I found that I haven't been able to fit any 24s.
It fits over the top of the cup. Yeah, because I thought the same thing, but it fits over the top of the cup, and the 510 of the goon is long enough to reach the battery.
I am going to inspect this because you just became my hero, I think.
This is my favorite combo. This is like probably my most expensive combo. Of course, we didn't actually pay cash for the mod, but it's still an expensive mod, and the goon is, I mean, it's like $60. So, but I got the goon for review for free. So the only way that really I could afford this stuff is, you know, that I've gotten it, you know, through deals and stuff, and that's kind of the way that I would recommend people. Like, if you want an expensive mod and you don't have a ton of money, you know, look for people who have them and make deals. Because a lot of time people will fucking run it, like get sick of it. You know, the newness wears off, and then they're like, well, yeah, like I'll trade those 2 Addies and a bottle of juice for this thing. I don't give a fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or they'll be like, well, it's not as good as I thought it was.
Yeah, totally.
And want to get rid of it.
It's funny you say that because everything I own, I believe, I've gotten on barter. Everything.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, either that or like, you know, I've been fortunate to have a relationship with one of the largest vape shops in the area, and they're also a wholesale distributor, Vapor & Co. You know, I've gotten a bunch of stuff for purposes of review from them. But yeah, everything else has been bartered for. Like my continuous current, my Sub-Zero Legendary, those were bartered for. I barter for everything, and that's an epic way to get a hold of equipment that you really, really, really want to try out, but just can't afford sometimes.
Yeah.
Hold on, I was muted. I'm still muted.
No.
No, you're not muted.
Okay, no, I'm not. All right. Something I wanted to talk about. Well, we're going to move on to Yeti's show and tell here in a second. But I wanted to touch on something that you kind of brought up. You said that you only have your boxes set up tonight. You do have a couple tubes, but it seems like you enjoy the boxes more. Now, there's reasons why boxes can be superior for people who are going to rock really low builds. Like if you're, especially, I'm talking about parallel boxes, because it splits the ohm load between the 2 batteries.
Right.
And so you can rock shit like 0.05s, because it's really more like a 0.1 when it's split between the 2 batteries. So that's a reason why I like mech boxes. I have one, a couple parallels here. I have this Snowman. This is a really cheap, like little castigator clone, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, I love that. Just the look of it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's dope, and it worked really well. I mean, right now it's kind of out of commission, but for like 2 years, this thing just fucking slammed. And it's got like a Delrin button, so this is highly recommended if you're trying to get into mech boxes. I think it's a good start. And then, so the difference between parallel, you know, like we were talking about, parallel will split the ohm load between the batteries, and it actually splits the battery draw from the what do you call it?
The amp
Between
draw.
the two batteries too. And so you get like double battery life. You split the ohm load. But then we have series boxes, which it just gives you all the battery power from both batteries all at once. It does not split up the ohm load. It does not split up the battery fucking drain. It just gives you fucking 7 or 8 volts directly. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean?
Right, and if not built for properly, can cause one hell of a problem.
And you got to build appropriately for it. I mean, we're talking like 0.5 and up, like half ohm and up. I usually liked my, you got stacked ones there?
Yeah, well, I was showing examples.
Oh, ooh,
Of
those are
series.
stacked series tubes.
Yep,
Are
one's
fucking the new hotness, so.
26650 and an 18650.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I've got
You beautiful son of a gun, you.
I've got a story about that later too.
Excellent. All right, so why don't we move on and go ahead and show us what you got, what you're working with there, Yeti.
Are we just doing like 2 or 3 or what? Because I just came kind of prepared.
Show everything you got.
Well, I don't know. Well, I brought 12 devices out. I was just kind of wanting to cover the gamut. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I brought this just because it's pretty as shit. The Limitless. It's a badass. I mean, everybody knows what this is, of course. And it just goes with the Limitless mod. The Limitless is timeless. I mean, this thing's been around for a long time. See there, Skelly knows what's up.
And in the chat, they were just talking about, everybody was saying how much they love the Limitless and stuff. So, yeah, Limitless is a great brand right now, and I think that you're pretty safe buying any of that shit. The RDTA that just came out, the combo, is fucking sick. So,
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on one of those.
I just ordered one, so.
This is a badass tube mod. This is the Bane. H-Stone mods. This thing is badass. I mean, if anybody happens to see it, pick it up if you can. If you can, these things are kick-ass. This is stainless steel. I don't usually buy stainless steel. I didn't have a choice in the matter. All the copper and brass were gone, but I am not disappointed. This thing is freaking awesome.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because I usually, like, if I'm buying expensive mechs, because I just can't justify spending tons of money. So a lot of times if they have stainless steel options, I'll buy that, because while there is a difference in the voltage drop and shit, it's not enough for me. Like, if I'm going to save 30 or 40 bucks, I'll usually go with that. But just so people know, like, the reason why, like Yeti's saying he rather would get copper or brass is because those actually have less of a voltage drop, and you're going to get, bigger clouds, a bigger hit. So.
Yep. See, that is true. A lot of people are they'll only buy copper or brass, but honestly, there's been very, very few mechs that I've used that I could tell the difference on. There's been a couple, but very few of them I can't usually tell a difference on. Between copper and aluminum or copper and steel. Yeah, like I said, there are some out there, but usually I can't really tell, but to each their own. This is one of my favorite all-time setups. I've got duplicates of this as well. I've got duplicates of pretty much everything I have. This is the Rig V1.
Oh, you bastard. I want a rig so bad. Oh, my God.
See, this is weird because usually most of my mechs are hybrid. Like probably 98% of them are all hybrid. This one's actually got a 510, connector on it. But I swear this thing hits as though it was a hybrid. And everything I put on this fires and hits hard as hell. Even to this day, I still use this thing. The other one's put up for Vapocalypse, but this is a badass little. If you guys can find it, because they're hard to find the V1, because a lot of people's like the V2 because it's a hybrid. They just went with that.
And they just came out with the V3 too, so people know, and it's actually a little cheaper than the V2. So
The V3?
It doesn't look as good though. Yeah, they just came out with the V3. It doesn't look as good. In my opinion, you know what I mean? It doesn't have that flair that the V2 had, or even the V1. I think that the V1 was beautiful too. But
wow, I didn't even know they had the V3 out.
I only know because I follow them on Instagram. I keep hoping they're gonna like notice me. It's like, notice me, senpai. You know what I mean? Give me a fucking mod over here.
Yeah, I actually have a V2 clone that I really, really enjoyed. The only thing about it that I didn't like was that the roughneck portion of it, because it came with the roughneck, leaked from 510.
A common problem with fucking clones, it seems.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, sorry. This is another good one that's out right now. Sorry, I was daydreaming. This is the Made Man mods.
Oh yeah, those are dope.
This thing, this is a nice mech. This is a heavy mech, really heavy for what it is. It's another 25 millimeter or 24 millimeter. No, I'm saving that for last. This is pretty kick-ass right here. This is the timekeepers. Now I've got a copper and brass.
Oh, those are so nice.
A little matchy, twist or switcheroos on them.
And that's AV Life,
These are
right?
freaking awesome. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. Kind of. You'll see us. You'll see a thing here in a minute. But yeah, these are freaking awesome. Those are hard hitters. Super hard hitters.
All the AV Life stuff is amazing. Totally.
The Able, the mighty Able.
Yeah. Oh god damn.
This is without a doubt next to the Apollo. Again, AV, both of these. I think the Apollo is the hardest hitting mod ever made. Yeah. And then the Able. And I'm saying over all of them. My opinion, of course, But these are really awesome rigs.
The Apollo is so nice, yeah. And all that shit. Oh, fuck, the Able, so great. All the AV Life. I mean, if you want to buy a nice mech that's going to fucking work, like a workhorse mod, but it's still flashy, and it's still fucking going to last you for 10 years, I highly recommend anything from AV. Those guys are amazing. Yeah,
anything they make, if you got the money for them,
that's it.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Yeah.
And you can't you can't get a fucking AV Life mod and then throw like a fucking $6 Addy on top. You got to have like a Kennedy or a fucking Goon on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Oops, shit. Well, here's another Able. This is a stacked Able with a Goon 25 or a Kennedy 25 on top.
You glorious man, you.
That's what I was wanting to get into, is the stacks. This is a 26-650 stack, and this is an 18-650 stack. And you were talking about series, and that's exactly what these are. These are just series tube mods, basically, because you get 8.4 volts out the top. Well, this one's not a hybrid. This one's got a 510, but this one's got the hybrid top.
So you want to build a stack tube like you would to a mechanical box, like a series box?
Exactly. Yeah. About.
I've never owned or played with a stack tube before.
Yep. Yeah. The Able, it's a 0.37 ohm, and then the one that's on the Omega is a 0.56.
And you're able to handle quite a bit of fucking ohm load with that shit, because you got the 26-650 that it can handle probably depending on the battery, it's like 40 amps and shit is pretty common, I think.
Probably max, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're after, I love series devices. That's my thing. And max, that's the only way to go is with a tube or a stack tube. And I got something really stupid coming. It should be here this week. I've got another section for this.
Oh, yes.
To make it a triple stack.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so awesome, dude. Stacked tube mods used to be a thing when I was first starting, but it was for 18 350 batteries. People probably don't even know what the fucking 18350 is. Nobody uses them anymore. But back when
And
we
you
used to
guys learned about
build,
this.
yeah, it would be like the size of a normal mod. But you could also like use one 18350 with them. That's back when we would build like 1.5 ohm coils and then use a mech mod. It was like tiny little wispy vapes and shit, you know. Oh god. But yeah, it seems like the series tubes are becoming like really in vogue because I see them all over the place now.
Yeah.
All over the fucking place, you know.
This is
I don't
the
know
last one I didn't show.
I don't know how well you could take them anywhere, but
Yeah, well, my mechs never leave the house.
yeah.
This is the Sub-Zero Shorty.
Oh yeah.
Or the sub-ohm innovation Sub-Zero
Yeah.
Shorty. This, I hardly ever use it. I've wanted this thing since the day it came out. I freaking love this. And the Addy that goes with it, the Sub-Zero Addy, in my opinion, is one of the best atomizers ever made.
Wow.
It's, well, okay, let me say it like this. It's one of the best bottom airflow atomizers ever made. It's a kick-ass Addy if anybody happens to see one, you know, under $80 and wants to pick it up. But, okay,
Wow.
that's it.
The Sub-Zero Shorty is dope, and I actually, when I was buying my Praxis, it was down between the Praxis and the Sub-Zero Shorty, and I got the Praxis because of the button, because I wanted something I could throw in my pocket and not have it fire, throw it in my briefcase, not have it fire, not throw it in the car door, you know, whatever. It's kind of a silly fucking expensive mod to use for a throw-around mod, but it just seemed interesting to me. I kind of regret it because the Sub-Zero Shorty is dope as fuck, but, you know.
Yeah.
It is
That's
what
why
it is.
I wanted that's the main reason why I wanted the Sub-Zero was because of the button, you know, that clutch plate system that it's got. That's so, and it's not even innovative now. I know of 2 other mods that have a similar design now.
Yeah.
You know.
They never stay unique for very long. You know.
Yeah, true.
Give mine in about 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. All right, so I'll show everybody my shit now, and then we can talk about some recommendations and stuff. Things that I use regularly. I just got this from Josh like 2 days ago or something like that. So I will be using this every fucking day. This is my favorite setup now. I love it. The Manhattan V2 has like some of the strongest magnets in the button that I've ever used. I mean, it fucking sticks to everything, dude. Like fucking, it'll hold up other mods and shit, man. I mean, it holds batteries and shit. Sticks to everything. It's pretty amazing.
Yep.
I love it. I really love it. And I got the Goon on there. I got the build we talked about earlier, and I got a custom drip tip that I got from Dawn for my door.
Yep.
So she's amazing.
Those are nice.
So nice.
Those are really nice tips.
So nice, yeah. And then I have this is kind of a beater, and it's kind of a piece of shit, really. But I thought it was really cool when I got it, and it's the Beacon from Beyond Vape. It's one of those fucking what do you call them? Telescopic mods. It's okay. It's aluminum. It doesn't hit very hard. It did when I first got it, but like everything else from Beyond Vape, it kind of falls apart after a while. I don't know if anybody else has any Beyond Vape stuff, but it's just, it's good in theory, but then you get it and it's like, I paid a lot of money for this piece of shit. You know what I mean? But Beyond Vape does have one cool thing. If you go to their site, they have a whole section for mods that are like, have visual imperfections. You know what I mean? Like they might have a scuff on it or a scratch, and you can get those fuckers for like 75% off. So, those are always cool to get. So, what was that?
Scratch and dent sale.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I use that, and I got the tugboat on here, authentic tugboat. I think it's a V2. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't get it with the box. I traded for it. So, and I got a custom cap from I forget where. But it's one of the little Tug Life caps and shit. It's a tiny little fucker. I like that. It's nice. I don't know why they have telescopic mods anymore because, honestly, nobody uses anything except for 18650s. And, I mean, you could theoretically put an 18350 to bring that up again. So that's a thing. I have this. This is a clone. It's like one of the only clones that I use. It is a Panzer clone, a Blackhawk clone. And the only reason I use it still is because I replaced the spring in it that it came with, and it's just, it hits hella hard, and it's fucking rugged, and I've had it for probably 5 years. It seems like at least 5 years. I've had it forever. So that's something I use pretty much every day. This is my absolute beater. You can see like the fucking paint's all coming off of the fucking Doge V3 here. Highly recommend the Doge for mechs. I think it's a great mech RDA. And this is the Fuhattan.
Yep.
If anybody doesn't know, this is like my third one. They're super cheap fucking throwaway mechs that hit hard as fuck. They got batteries in the buttons. At least the good ones do. I mean, I wouldn't recommend buying it unless it has the magnets in the button. Also a nice hitter. I have the, what is it called? The SMPL. This is authentic. I don't like it very much, to be totally honest. I think it's a cool design. It was one of the first like hybrids that I got. I use it every day because I have my fucking, what do you call it? The Conqueror RTA on there. And I got some of your
That's what I was
coils
wanting
in
to
here.
bring that up, actually.
Okay. We'll get
I was
to
actually
that.
wanting to bring up the simples.
Okay, yeah, totally. We can talk about that shit. And
Yeah.
I have here the Phantom from Watofo. I can't find these anymore, but this is a great fucking mod. And I got it for $30 brand new. It's authentic. It's a hybrid, but it also comes with a 510. It was black, but I fucking, it started to lose its paint, so I just fucking sanded it all down except for the button here. It's got the little fucking Phantom of the Opera on the bottom.
Yeah.
Great mod. If you can find them, I highly recommend it. I have here the minigun mod from HCV or something like that. Only reason I got this, I'm so glad I did. It's my second favorite mech mod. Is the only reason I got it is they have it on sale at My Freedom Smokes. They had the baby blue one and the pink one for 90% off.
Wow.
It was like $18, $19 at that time. They have them still for $30. I highly recommend grabbing them. They only have the pink ones left. It doesn't fucking matter. I mean, grab a pink one, grab a pink Addy, match it up. You'll be fucking fine. Love it. Hits hella hard. It has a spring button, but the spring is super stiff. It's a great mod. Totally a great mod. And then after that, like I showed before, I have the Snowman. This one doesn't work anymore. I've tried to fix it. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the fuck, why it doesn't work. I'm going to buy another one, though, because they're super nice. And then I have, like, the Tesla. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you can find those all over the place, too. Little Snowman.
And they have the Snow Girl, too, and those ones are dope, too. I mean, there's no difference, so. I have the Tesla Invader 1? 2. Tesla Invader 2 Classic. It's the wood one. It's a total piece of shit. It has a fucking... it has, what do you call it, the stupid MOSFETs in them. Nobody uses MOSFETs anymore, but this fucker has one. What else? I got a couple other fucking clones, but I don't ever use them. I have an OverDose clone. I always felt like I should have an OverDose mod because we're OverDose Vapes. I would totally love to have an authentic one, but they're hundreds of dollars now because they don't make them anymore. And that's a piece of shit. It doesn't work very well. I have this. I can't remember what this is called. I honestly can't remember.
Oh, that's the.
That's the penny mod.
Yeah, and it was all right for a while, but it's a clone, and like most clones, the spring kind of corroded and kind of collapsed. The 510 got all gunky, and I cleaned it out like every day. It just kind of stopped working. And then I have a couple semi-mechanicals. I got the Tesla 3. I can't remember what it took. It's Tesla 2 sub-mod. This is the hydrographic.
Yeah.
And this one is badass. I fucking love this thing. It's got 4,500 mAh. Fucking lasts all day.
I almost brought mine out here.
And that's cheap.
I love that
super
thing, man.
Cheap. I got this hydrographics one because it has the strange like paint job on it. I got it for less than $20. I got it for like $16. And then the Yep eSig 1, this little fucking thing here, also like $20. When I first bought it, it was like kind of like a joke. You know what I mean? But I use this fucker all the time, man. It puts out 4.2 volts steady, and I think it does 0.1, and it says up to 100 watts. I mean, that's just they do the math like, hey, you can do this low, yeah. I love it. It's super small. I take it. You can chuck fucking clouds with it. I have the fishbone on there. And that's like
heavy as hell.
Heavy?
Yeah.
No, it's light. Yeah, it's super light. I don't know what kind of battery they're in there because, like, I know that this Tesla has a LiPo in it, like a cell phone battery. But this one, I don't know what the fuck kind of battery it has in there. Maybe an 18650 straight hardwired. I don't know, honestly. It might. Yeah, it might. Honestly, that might be what it is. Just like a box built around an 18650 battery.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, for anybody that is, you know, getting into vaping that wants a little more power than just the ego pins that they've been getting a hold of, I really do recommend that Tesla 2 sub-mod. I had, like I said, I had the green hydro print one, but I ended up, I got it for my birthday last year, but I ended up gifting it to a smoker just probably about 6 or 8 weeks ago or so. And I absolutely love that thing. That thing was an absolute workhorse. I could throw an Arctic tank on there, and that was, with the size of my hands, that was the perfect sneak attack for me in a movie theater.
Yeah, yeah. I use it. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
I was just gonna agree with both of you. The sub box 2 or the Tesla thing. I've got one too, and I've had that thing for well over a year. And it's tough as shit. It's a little bitty fucker, but it's tough as hell. I mean, you can put just about anything on it. It says it fires at 0.1. That's not necessarily true because I've got it to fire a little bit lower than that.
I have to.
But it will shut off.
Yeah. I love it because
it's a good mod.
I love it because like Skeletor was saying, I can throw a tank on there like an RTA, like a super tank or whatever, you know, Griffin, whatever, and I can rock that, and then I can throw a fucking RDA on there. Like I can take this to work, you know what I mean? And that'll be the only thing I have to take to work because I can throw a couple RDAs in my bag, I can throw a fucking tank in my bag, and no matter what the situation, this can handle it. I love this fucking mod. It's a definitely all day. I use it every day, or at least, you know, every other day. I think it's a great mod. A workhorse, like Skeletor said, totally a workhorse. So there's a question in chat. I wanted to interrupt real quick. Shane Smith, who's a great guy, and he's always watching everybody's shows. He wants to know, Skeletor, if it's not too like a sensitive subject, he wants to know if Eli is done with the channel, with his channel.
With his channel, I don't know. I honestly haven't heard shit from him since the day that he forgot about Anthrax's show, and I ended up putting it on my own network and figuring out exactly how easy it was. You know, he did a couple of things that were douchey, I guess would be the absolute best way that I can put it. And, you know, after a while of being douchey, people just don't care anymore. And that was where both Anthrax and I were at. We just didn't care anymore. And we were ready to do it on our own. And since then, I haven't talked to him, so I don't know. I do know that Juicy is like alive and well. Because ironically enough, my buddy Zach, that's been on a couple of my shows, he's got a family member that lives in Seattle and happened to be standing behind Juicy and his old lady in a coffee shop, said, hey, snapped a picture of him and said, isn't this the dude that used to do shows with Skeletor? And so I know he's alive and well, and this was just last week, you know. But other than that, yeah, like I said, I haven't talked to him. You know, it's not really a sensitive subject. It's one of those things to where it's like, okay, you want to be a douchebag? Well, fuck you. You know, I'll just go and do my own thing. I've been good at doing my own thing for a while now anyway. So
totally. No, I think that you're so much better off by yourself, honestly. I think that you do great content. I love your live shows. I think they're hella fucking cool. The thing, I've never spoke directly about this, but, you know, we've kind of like hinted around about it and shit. But Juicy caused a lot of problems for us. And he talked a lot of shit behind our backs, and he wasn't the greatest guy. I mean, that's just the only way it was. Like, you know, he'll be really fucking cool to your face, and he'll stab you in the back. I don't want this to turn into like a drama show or like, you know, talking shit about him or anything. But that's just my experience with him, man. He's been a dick, and he talked mad shit about us to other people, and then he'd talk shit about us and then invite us on his show. You know what I mean? I went on his show a couple times just because if somebody asked me, I'll usually go on like once. So, whatever. You know, I don't. It's water off a duck's back. I never really gave a fuck. You know what I mean? Because I mended all those fences that he tried to fuck up for us. Thankfully, you know what I mean? But like that's why we never did a door because he talked hella shit about us to Dawn and told Dawn that we were talking hella shit about her. And that's just not the way it was. And so if anybody knows us, we're not shit talkers. And we like people who are similar to us, you know what I mean? And that's just why it never worked out with Eli and all those guys, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Skeletor was always like the one guy over there that was like, man, I wish Skeletor would do his own thing, you know what I mean? And thankfully he's doing it now, so it's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of let's get away from that shit. And and let's talk about some recommendations for people. Like if you're like you've been vaping for a while and you want to like put together a nice little mod, you know what I mean? Like some recommendations. What would you guys say? Start with Skeletor.
Well, in all actuality, it depends on how you build, how you like to vape. If you like a flavor build that takes some ramp up time, but you're hitting at like 0.4, 0.45 ohms, an unregulated series box is going to be fine for you because that ramp up time is pretty much cut to nil. I mean, I've got a build on here that would take forever to ramp up on a parallel box, but because I have it on a series, it's almost instantaneous.
Yep.
And if you like a hot vape, then definitely series is the way to go. Now, if you don't mind pulling on, you know, a draw for a couple of seconds while you get your vape going, and you build to maybe the 0.15 to 0.25 range, then a parallel box would be good for you because you're getting the same, you know, you're going to get the same voltage at 4.2, which I consider flavor country personally. That's just my, you know, my personal vape experience is best at 4.2 volts. So I figure out what I'm going to get 4.2 volts at with my build when I use a parallel.
Yeah.
Which is usually your lower builds because it's built to handle something like that. But yeah, so it all depends. If you like to build low, go parallel. If you like to build high, or a tube, you know. If you like to build high, go for a series, especially if you like a warm vape.
Yeah.
I would only say the only like little thing I would say about that is that series box, you got to be careful. We've already talked about it. You have to build accordingly.
Right.
You can't build low. I mean, you can't build like 0.1s. I mean, you can, but it's going to be fucking fire, like in your face fire. You know what I mean? And it's just not super safe. So I always recommend, like, if you're going to get into mechs, I always recommend like either a tube, you know, like a simple tube, like the Fuhattan, I think is a good way to test if it's something you like, because it's a good representation of how good a mech vape can be. But if you're like you said, if you've been around a while and you know what's up and you have good batteries and shit, get a series box because it, like you said, it cuts all the fucking ramp up time. It's gone. And even with big old thick fucking cat tracks or whatever, you know, 8 fucking strand parallels and shit, you're getting instantaneous fucking heat right now. So.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's like right now I can build in the Goon, and it's taken forever to ramp up on the Manhattan. But if I were to throw this, I wouldn't throw this on an unregulated series box because it's built to 0.22, 0.25. But I would put it on a potentiometer rated at half power.
Yeah.
And I can still get the same instant response when it comes. Like, I'm just going to do this because I'm thinking about it. See how long it takes? Oh, there we go. Now we got some.
Yeah.
But when I throw this, I'll toss some batteries in here real quick. When I toss that same RDA onto a potentiometer rated series box, make sure the batteries are going in the right way. Even though the Nuve Alpha 2 or Alpha 6.0 does have reverse polarity protection, it's always good to know what the fuck you're doing.
You don't want to chance it though.
No, fuck no.
Right. That's right. All right. Let me take the battery out of this so I can get the Goon off of here, which, by the way, Travis, you're my hero. I've been, ever since I've re-wicked this son of a bitch, I've been vaping the Goon on this Manhattan.
It does work, yeah. See, like I thought the same thing when I first got it. I'm like, it won't fit because of the cup, but it fits right on top of the cup perfectly. Yep. It's seamless. It looks like it was made for it, to be honest.
It does. It does. It
yeah.
truly does. All right, let me get this bad boy. While I'm doing this, it's going to take me a second. If y'all want to jump on to...
Yeah, go ahead. Yeti, go ahead and like, what would you recommend? Like, what's your high-end recommendation? Like, if somebody has unlimited money and they want to buy a fucking tube mod, what would you recommend? The Apollo?
Okay. If you got high end, then Vicious Ant.
Ooh, yeah.
Honestly, no bullshit, and all the bullshit aside, an Able. Get you a nice Able, a good brass or a copper Able, man. You can't go wrong. The only thing with that, I mean, it's a hybrid. I was wanting to speak to that. It is a hybrid top. The thing with mechs, there's a lot of, it's kind of going away a little bit, but there's a lot of derogatory about hybrids. Ooh, it's a hybrid. I don't want a hybrid. I can't have a hybrid. Hybrid doesn't mean shit. That's just the type, where the battery attaches to the addy. The thing is you can't use tanks on a mech, on a hybrid, because it goes connect, directly to the battery, and that pin on most tanks doesn't protrude, so it's going to, get you a dead short.
But it's not just tanks. I mean, I've had hella RDAs that it looks like it might just be enough. I've shorted batteries, and the only time I've ever shorted batteries was on fucking hybrids. And I get what you're saying. Like, it's not like the boogeyman. It's not dangerous, but there is an element of safety there.
Yeah, well, you have to pay particular attention.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. That's what caused all the big scaremongering going around. Is that it just came out that hybrids are bad, and they're not bad. It's what you put on top of it. You gotta pay attention. It's just like with anything. I mean, you got to pay attention to which direction your batteries go. So pay attention if your 510 is sticking out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the thing with that is, if you are unsure whether or not your RDA is hybrid safe, then just go ahead and assume that it's not.
Yep.
To be quite honest, just go ahead and assume that it's not, because I actually had a Vicious Ant Phenom. I love that thing. It had a 510 connector, so I finally had the opportunity to use my Phenotype L RDA onto something, because I have a authentic anarchist Phenotype L, and I love this thing. It's one of my favorite addies still to this day, but the 510 is not hybrid friendly, which sucks because it looks beautiful on a lot of hybrid mods. And it looked beautiful sitting on top of the fucking Noisy Cricket too.
Yeah.
But it's not hybrid safe. But okay, so I got this thing at half power now. And y'all remember, I let it cool off. Y'all remember exactly how long it took before. I mean, we're talking like almost, well, I can go a little higher than halfway. There we go.
Yep.
Instant.
Yep.
Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's super awesome. I dig that shit, dude. Okay, so I would agree. I think the Able's a great mod. I think that I would recommend, like, if somebody's like newer and they want something high end, I would go with probably the Rig. I think the Rig is really super easy to get your head around. It's simple, but it really hits hard and shit. It's highly recommended. Is what I would recommend at least.
Yeah. Your robot and Travis.
Yeah, I was just about to say, okay. Travis, jiggle your wire, bud.
I'm going to actually exit out and then I'll come back.
Oh, right. Okay. But know, I really enjoy, like we were talking just a few seconds ago about tanks and hybrid mods. I do notice that a lot of your RDTAs that are made nowadays are starting to have the protruding 510s, and I think that started with the Avocado, in my opinion, because at that point with the Avocado, I tell you what, the Avocado looks bitching on my fucking continuous current.
Yeah. Well, look at that. I mean,
Yeah.
See, I loathe the sight of a tank on a mech. There's just something about it that I can't stand looking at a tank on a mech. I don't know. It's just a personal thing with me. However, I consider this to be okay because basically it's an RDA. It just has a tiny little tank at the bottom. That's how I justify it.
It's an RDA with one hell of a fucking juice well.
Yeah, exactly.
I love my mech tank combo. Maybe it's just because I like started vaping at a time when mechs were really like, there wasn't a ton of really like powerful box mods and regulated devices. It was like 11-watt mods and shit like that. So I've always loved my tank like mech combo if I have an RTA, like Yeti was saying. I mean, I wouldn't use like a sub-ohm tank on a mech. I don't think, you know. I've never used sub-ohm tanks to begin with, though. So
that's what I was going to say about the whole thing with tanks on hybrids. And I think the reason why I hate seeing tanks on mechs is because when you push the button on this, you're getting what's in the battery. You're not getting like on a regulated, you can adjust it to whatever you want to go through the tank. Some tanks are rated, some can only handle so many watts or so many, whatever, so many volts or whatever. With the coil that's in it, is what I'm talking about. And if you overload it, you're gonna burn your coil. You might arc something. There's all kinds of bad shit can happen. And that's why it bothers me to see a tank on a. However, if it's like an RDTA or something with a proper pin, it's all good. It's just the sub-ohm tanks that. Yeah,
because I straight got my tank on a hybrid on the simple. So.
Right. Now, using a sub-ohm tank on, say, like like the Panzer Blackhawk, for instance. Any 510 tube mod, really. You can do that. And the reason being is because it's just like on a regulated or a box mod or something like that. You've got the 510 connector.
Exactly.
It eliminates the negative short.
And I just think that the best advice is just check your fucking RDAs. Make sure that the 510 is proud. Any device you're using, like RDA, RTA, sub-ohm tank. I get where Yeti's talking about because it's an odd combo. You don't see it a lot, especially you don't see people rocking mech tubes with fucking tanks on them a lot. So that's an unusual fucking combo. I think it can work, but you gotta be careful. I mean, be smart. That's it. That's with vaping. I mean, that's why we got into it. We're trying to be smart. We're trying not to smoke. It continues when you vape. You still gotta be fucking smart. Don't be stupid, people. Please.
That's right. That's right. And the thing that you need to remember about vaping when it comes to equipment like this and devices like this is the fact that, for one, you need to do your research. And if you're watching us and chatting with us and hanging out with us right now, you're already one step ahead of the game. I got into all this because I'm a research whore. Whenever I do anything, I am one of those where I will Google, I will YouTube.
Yeah, me too.
I will do everything and anything that I can to research. I'm talking, I will even go to Wikipedia if I have to. And that's how you have to be with the safety portion of vaping. Sure, if you're thinking about a juice here or there, let's watch this review here, let's watch this review there. If you're lucky enough to find a reviewer that's got a comparative on a juice that you have tried that they've reviewed, so you can get a roundabout idea of what their palate is like. Okay, sure, just watch and try to figure it out on your own. But when it comes to the safety aspect of this of vaping, it's imperative.
Yep.
Absolutely imperative.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we had like a question. We did the expensive mods. People want to know what our affordable mod options, what we would recommend. It depends, but I would probably recommend, if you're new to it and shit, clones are always an option. People, it's like a dirty word, clones, especially nowadays because there's so many, affordable authentics. But that's always an option, Tobacco and all those companies are still making clones of everything. You can still go to fucking Fast Tech and buy shit for $5. That's always an option. If you're really low on funds, don't feel bad about doing that. But if you can afford it, there are things that are, you know, a little bit more expensive but are still affordable, like the Tesla. I think that this is a great option if you want something mechanical like, you know what I mean? The Omega.
Yep. The Omegas are cheap as shit, and they're good.
There you go. You know, shit like that. You know, the Fu Hatton, like we were talking about before, I think is a great cheap option. And like we said, also just, you know, wheel and deal, make deals. You know, find somebody who has something, make a deal. You don't always have to buy shit brand new. But then there's also things like I was talking about with Beyond Vape. You know, the scratch and dent sale. You know, go think outside the box.
And there's several websites that do that too.
Yeah, totally.
You know, Kennedy does that straight from their, you know, the company. You know, they sell their seconds and their offs.
I highly recommend that. You know what I mean? I think that just think outside the box. You can find deals. Wait for sales. All these companies do sales. Like right before November 8th or whenever, you know, the fucking deadline was where everything was supposed to fucking blow up.
Yeah, August 8th.
August 8th. You know, everything was supposed to fucking come to a screeching halt. Every company had fucking crazy sales. And every fucking 3-day weekend, they have crazy sales and shit. So, you know, look out for that. Like, also, look out for coupon codes. We have a permanent coupon code at vapingcollection.com. 20% off. It's OverDose 20. That's a lot. You know, 20% off is a fucking ton. And even if you're buying a $100 mod, that's taking $20 off, dude. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's like with us over at Vapor & Co., you know, you throw in WTF, that's a 20% off discount too. You know, a lot of people don't realize that when, you know, you're going onto a website and like, okay, I want to spend this, I want to spend that, I want to spend that, and then they find something that is in their price range. And at that point, you know, they're like, okay, let's put, holy cow, that means I can buy more stuff.
Yeah. Instead of buying like one nice thing, you're buying 10 shitty things. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that many times. What's up, Paul?
What up, Hesh?
What's happening, Pete?
Chilling.
What's good? I had to get in. You guys were talking my life. So
I was fucking. I was thinking about you so hard after I started the show. I'm like, mech mods, fucking Hesh and shit.
Yeah, right.
Well,
that's awesome.
I had to, you know, I had to watch the circus of the debates and also finish up my reports for work. So, you know, as soon as I saw this on, you know, once that circus ended, and figured I'd start another one while the wife is still at work. So, hey, you know.
Take advantage of the situation.
Damn straight. So, I have to agree with Yeti. If you're going to go something high-end that you know that you can easily, you know, get great performance out of, Abel is definitely...
What do you know? What do you know? Hesh is going to rock the Abel.
Abel's definitely a go-to. And then for if you got the little extra money, I got to say it, the stackable.
Yeah.
That stack life, though.
You stacking motherfuckers, you know. I tell you.
Damn straight.
I'll stack this way. It looks less like it is.
Now, yeah, so I've caught pretty much everything until you sent that that invite, Trav.
Okay.
So we'll pick up where...
You got anything to add?
I mean, learn everything that you can about hybrid connections. I agree with you guys. Never put a goddamn sub-ohm tank on a fucking mech mod. Whatever you do, please, God, do not do that. Know your batteries, especially when it comes to building low, especially if you're into silly, stupid comp life clouds and everything like that. Make sure, the way that I check to make sure that a hybrid connection is good is if you've got one of the build kits and you've got those ceramic pliers, if the 510 protrudes as far as the ceramic plier, the end of the ceramic pliers from the threading, or further, you're safe to throw it on a mech, but make sure that the insulator does not move when you crank down the, just get the connection taut. Don't crank it down, because some of these RDAs that are out there, God bless them, they're fantastic, but the peak insulators and the palm insulators that are in these things do warp over time with the heat and everything that we throw at them. So you have to make sure that that connection isn't going to slide, or your positive post isn't loose. If any of that stuff is happening, do not, by any means, do not throw your RDA on your mech. It's just a disaster waiting to happen.
And you know what? The insulator thing, that's not just cheap shit either. Like even high-end RDAs and shit will those will move around, those will warp, those will fucking expand and contract and
the flawless tugboat V1, notorious for snapping their positive pin.
Yeah.
And it's at the base where it screws into the insulator. Any of these non-square fit post ones tend to have an issue as well. Anything that's straight round all the way through, the positive pin is your 510 connection. There's no threaded, screw on the bottom. That's why I like, the Goon, the Comp Life stuff, the Kennedys. Everything is machined to have zero tolerance for error unless you jackhammer the thing on.
Yeah.
That's the main problem that I had with even my even my comp vape stuff. I'm on my second Twisted Messes right now because the center post spun on my very first one. Authentic.
Yeah. I've rebuilt my Twisted Messes. I got it as a pre-order when they first came out, and I've rebuilt my Twisted Messes with parts kits from friends that just don't like the RDA like 3 times. And
the first one especially had fucking issues, dude.
Mine
talked how great they were. I had tons of issues with mine. So
yeah, my posi block still leans slightly to the fucking left.
Mine will fucking turn and shit. Like when if I'm cranking down, to fucking tighten the leads and shit, it'll fucking turn. I have to like hold it sometimes. It's a piece of shit, to be honest. I didn't like it. But the new one's nice.
The Twisted Messes 24K, I haven't had any problems with.
No, those are nice.
I can't wait to get my hands on one of those.
Even 24 is pretty fucking spectacular too.
Yeah. Even the V2 is nice. I just like the regular V2 22mm. I'm using it right now. I love this thing, dude. You know what I mean? I've had none of the problems I had with the original one.
Be right back. I forgot to grab my kid's monitor.
All right. Let's talk about builds. Let's talk about builds specifically for mech mods.
Oh yeah.
Because here's the thing. Mech mods, they're going to give you 4.2 volts at the very start, and then it's going to trail off. You know what I mean? The batteries drain. You're going to get less and less. And it's not going to give you that instant hit that a fucking regulated will. You're not going to get instantly 200 watts or instantly 150 watts. So you kind of got to build to be appropriate. For me, no matter what I'm using, the most I ever do is 6 reps. Even if I'm doing like triple parallels or like the thing I have with in here, I have a parallel. It's 22 gauge parallel with fused Clapton. I did 5 reps, dual coil. It's got no ramp up time. You know what I mean? And it's like it's stressing my batteries, but I have really good batteries, and I only take like half-second fucking hits, dude. I go, I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm like well within the pulse time. So
yeah. Whereas I get completely silly with my builds. This is 21 gauge paralleled with 23 gauge firewire. It's stainless. It's pretty much the same thing as immolation comp wire. It's a 0.08 build. It's 7 reps on a 3.5 mil, and I do about an 8 to 10 second pull if I'm doing an outlaw comp with it, or I do a 5-second pull, with the 2-second purge for regular comps.
Jesus Christ.
So,
make sure your batteries are up to par, kids. If you're
100%, man. Samsung 25Rs or the LG HG6s. Those are the only ones that I would trust to be throwing, this kind of pulse rate at by any means.
What are those white ones? I have a bunch of those white ones that are, they have a really shitty, I can't remember the name of them right off the top of my head. They have a really shitty Ma, but they have like a legit 40 amp.
The HP6 from LG. It's 1500 Ma, but it's a 60 amp pulse battery.
Yes. And it does 40 amp continuous.
It's 40 amp continuous, 60 amp pulse. Much like the Samsung 25Rs, the 25Rs actually give you a 100 amp pulse for the first 4 hits.
Yeah.
Their best duty cycle is use it 5 times before you start to go comping, charge it at a 1 amp charge, and then keep them charged, comp with them. After every 4 pulls, swap out your fucking battery because you're getting that 100 amps right at your face.
Well, you know what? And it's kind of like that with those white batteries, you know, the HG6s or whatever. It's you only get 3 or 4 good fucking hits, even if you're not comping. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you got to switch. You know, you got to swap those cocksuckers constantly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, without a doubt.
Those are great mech batteries.
They're great mech batteries. Totally.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
If I'm going to recommend, and we were going to recommend batteries to people, that's my recommendation. I would say that's the one to get. If just for safety reasons, grab 6 of them because you're going to need 6 to make it through a day. But
you're going to need 6 to make it through an hour.
Yeah, no shit. But you know what'll happen with those is I'll be ripping on those and I'll forget I'm using them, and then it'll be fucking super weak, and I'll take it to the thing and it's like 2.9 volts left, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, don't ever take it below 3, people, please. You know, 3.2 even is. You should notice the difference at that point, I think.
Man, I can't stand it at 3.8 volts, and that's when the batteries are at their peak, you know?
Yeah, but I like those short pulls. That's why my builds are always 4 wraps. 4 wraps is like my comfort zone. No matter what I'm using, I'll just roll with the punches. If it's super low, it's super low. But most of the time, it's 4 wraps. Like I said, since I was using 22 comp wire, it's 22 gauge cotton bacon comp wire or whatever, Wiccan vape comp wire, mixed with fused Clapton, nichrome fused Clapton. So it's like I did 1 extra wrap. I did 5 instead of 4. But still, 4 is my comfort zone. Stainless steel, nichrome, doesn't matter. I throw 4 wraps and I'm good to go. So.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? What's your best builds for mechs, specifically for mechs?
Oh, Jesus. That's a tough one.
Indeed.
Are you talking about ADV status, or are you talking about fucking I'm chucking clouds like a Mack truck?
Now, practical. This is what you're using every day to vape, not to fucking do comps or anything. Just like you're vaping.
Typically in my Max, if I'm gonna do an ADV vape, we're looking. I typically go with a 0.2 or 0.15. Typically about 22 gauge Canthal. If I'm feeling squirrely for the day, nichrome 80. Get the better flavor out of the nichrome, but you get the longer battery life out of the Canthal, even though it's got a little bit more ramp up time. 6 wrap, 5, 6 wrap, 3 mil, 3.5 mil for those. I've been using stainless steel for the last 6 months, legitimately just the only. So I usually, if I'm going for battery life, about 8 wraps on a 3 millimeter will get me about a 0.12 nice hot dense vape, and I can whack at on a Mac for about 4 hours without having to change the battery. So
yeah, and 3 millimeter seems to be really like a common millimeter. I always use the 0 screwdriver, that little yellow screwdriver, the 0. It's like in between. I think it's like 2.2 something millimeters or some shit. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, it's like
2.4, I think.
Yeah, it's 2.4 to 2.8 depending on who makes it. If Stanley makes it, it's a 2.6.
And I just love that it's a little bit smaller and it has less ramp up than like a 3 a lot of times. So 4 wraps on that with even with just like let's say 26 gauge Canthal, you throw 4 wraps on dual coil, that's still a good vape. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I like that size. 3 seems a little big to me. I'm always having trouble fucking fitting my builds into fucking mods and shit or into RDAs, so I try to get them in the smallest screwdriver I can without fucking being stupid. I still got to be able to fit wick in there, you know what I mean?
Dragon coils.
All right, so Skeletor, what's your build for mechs?
Well, it all depends. If I'm rocking a single coil or a double coil, if I'm using series or parallel, on a parallel
what's your go-to? What's your go-to build?
My go-to build on my parallel box is usually about 7 to 8 wraps, 24 gauge nichrome 70 static wire. When I'm using a series, I'll actually stage a Clapton, but I'll use a Clapton or a Canthal Clapton, and I'll stage it with my nichrome 70. Uh, Usually about 8 to 9 wraps per coil, and that gives you good surface area, great production, great flavor, nice heat. I can usually bang out at about 0.35 to zero point 0.4. I use a 2.5 to a 3 millimeter, depending on the RDA. If I have an RDA that has the inside airflow control inside the cap, then I'll use a 2.5. But if it's like the comp vape where the ring is on the outside, I'll use a 3. It just all depends. I'll use a 2 to a 2.5 on a velocity.
Yeah. That's dope. Yeah, that's that's something that we didn't really cover, but yeah, surface area is a thing. You'll have people say like, oh, it doesn't really matter, and shit does. The more wire you have in there, the more wire that's touching the cotton, the more flavor you're gonna get. But for me, the ramp up time, because I only use mechs and shit, so ramp up time is the only thing I give a fuck about, really. As long as I have some wire touching the cotton and I'm getting some flavor, I'm happy. And if I can take my half-second pull, I'm good. So for me, that's why, like I was saying, like I only do like the 4 wraps and shit. But the more surface area you have, you are going to get more nuances and shit. And when I'm doing juice reviews, I do use like 6 wrap coils, and I'll use a lot of like Claptons and shit when I'm doing juice reviews because I want to get the most flavor I can. So.
Right. Yeah. Now, Travis, I have a question for you. And this is just something that I've noticed from all the videos that I've watched of you and Josh. When you're doing reviews and you have the tube mech, you always bring it by your ear. Is that so you can hear it start to fire off if you're using Claptons for the ramp-up time?
I want to make sure that it's firing, like, you know what I mean? It's just like a habit that I got into. People always make fun of me for it. Because,
well, it's funny because I do the same thing.
Yeah. I gotta hear that it's fucking like rattling off pretty good before I fucking put it in my mouth. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times I get frustrated as fuck. Like if I like go, like what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure that shit is fucking firing. So yeah, that's something. That's funny that you noticed that. But yeah, I do that.
Well, every video, without fail, every video.
Shit, and yeah. Well, on video is one thing. I do it in fucking public and shit. Like, all right.
I noticed that before I got into the world of series mech mods, I was doing the same thing because I would love using Claptons, and I even got to the point to where I was double staging it, where I was using parallel stage in between the Clapton to try to get rid of the ramp up time. But once I figured out the world of series mechs and was able to just build a single stage Clapton with it, it was fucking great. Didn't have to hold it next to my ear anymore. Listen, because I did. I used to mod a lot before I got into series mechs.
Yeah,
I did.
And so Giz is in the chat. What's up, Giz?
What up? What up,
Giz? Brother from another mother.
He was.
Oh, he's gone. I got much love for Giz. He's going through some hard shit right now. He just lost a family member, a pet. I think that any of us out there that have pets that treat them like family, we know what he's going through. We've got much love for Giz, and I just I hope that he starts feeling okay pretty soon. You know what I mean? I know how it is. I've lost pets, and it's pretty devastating. I cried more when I lost my first puppy. My first dog. He wasn't a puppy. He was grown. He was old. But I cried more when he died than when my own grandfather died. And I don't know what that says about me. But that's the truth. I'm just keeping it real. You know what I mean? So I know exactly how he feels. And I really feel for him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's his 9-year companion, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even imagine. You know what I mean? What he's going through right now. So.
Yeah.
So okay.
We love you, Giz.
Yeah, we love you, Giz. For real. For real. Much love, man.
Right here.
All right. So Yeti, your go-to build. You're the guy that we should have asked from the very beginning, I think, right?
Yeah. See, that's not a very fair thing to do, man.
Yeah, I kind of stole the thunder. Sorry about that.
No, you're all right.
No, I mean, it's just that, holy shit, I'm just constant. I mean, that's why this never leaves my head. I'm constantly fucking building. That's what I was doing before I came in here. Honestly, what I typically always, like if I'm trying out a new Addy or a new juice, I will always put in my go-to build, which is it's a stainless steel 5-wrap fused Clapton with typically I'll use a Helix staged wire.
Yeah.
Staged heating wire parallel with it. Sometimes I'll use twisted, but typically I'll use a Helix, 2632 Helix. That's almost, in fact, about 5 of the 12 I have up here will have that exact build right now. If not that, another one that I use quite often is just a standard 3-strand Alien with a twisted staged heating wire.
That's what's up.
As far as single coils, I've been really hooked on the just a simple frame staple, just a simple frame staple Clapton, and I've been really getting into the staple Staggerton build. It's kind of brought some new nuances to my vaping excitement. It's a pain in the dick to build, but
it's a squirrely ass coil though.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. That's definitely one that will try your patience as a builder.
Oh, you better believe it, man.
I love the frame staple. I think it's one of the best coils that's available. I think that if you can make them, I think make a bunch and use those all the time. I think they're amazing. The flavor those fuckers put off is just unparalleled. They're totally unparalleled.
Yeah.
There's something about flat wire
Absolutely.
that just
Flat
adds
wire.
this fucking flavor, man.
Yeah.
Even if you're just
Well,
twisting regular wire with flat wire.
That's what I was about to say. A Tiger coil is just round wire twisted with ribbon wire. That's a fucking hellacious build.
Yeah.
It's a simple build, but it's got some badass flavor nuances.
I'll stage a lot of times with Tiger wire. Like I'll use Tiger wire and then like fuse Clapton and I'll stage it together and shit. I think there's just that combination right there is like for flavor, fucking, it's a monster. You know what I mean? Totally a monster.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so I had another topic that we could talk about a little bit. We've covered pretty much everything that I was thinking about. But what about juices? Max specifically for juices. You know what I mean? Like I use, I'm a Max VG guy, but I think that's kind of like the standard now. You know what I mean? But like when I was starting, 50/50s were the standard, and it was like as soon as I started dripping, especially when I started dripping with Mets, it was like that didn't work for me. You know what I mean? There's something about the 4.2 volts and putting all that power on a 50/50. It just never fucking tasted right. Always fucking hurt my chest and shit. So I try to use as much VG as I can. Right now I'm dripping my own juice that I made here, White Girl. It's the ODV juice. And it's as much VG as I could put in it. The only PG is that the flavoring was suspended in PG. But like my nicotine was in VG. I used all VG for the base and shit. So that'd be my recommendation, because it seems like when it comes to high heat, VG holds up way better than PG. So
Definitely.
Yeah, it doesn't break down as quick as PG either.
Right.
yeah,
You get more of the flavor. You don't get as hefty as a throat hit. You can easily drop down your nicotine levels a hell of a lot quicker using Max VG dripping on a Mac, than sitting there, using 50/50s or 60/40s in a tank. I mean, I have friends that started vaping the exact same time as me, and they're still on like 12, 8, 9 Nick, because they're tanking it all day long, and it's like, all right.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy shit. Like
I'm on 3 and 1.5. 1.5 when I'm, dicking around the house. 3 when I'm out in public, so I don't, the general public doesn't get hurt. But I agree with you. Not to make the advertisement, but Vape Grow Vixen, again, just like the ODV juice, no PG added whatsoever. I've been vaping this stuff solid for over 1.5 years. Travis knows this. The lowest I actually go, I'm looking at like 80/20s on everything. 80/20, the occasional 70/30 if it's a juice that I really like and I feel nostalgic. but everything's either 80-20 or higher, and you know they're now labeling 80-20 as max VG.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool. You know, because they're again depending on the flavorant, what it's suspended in. You know, if you're using TFA, if you're using Capellas, if you're using any of those guys, most of that stuff is PG based.
Yeah.
And
you can't get any of the normal flavors. I couldn't find them, at least with VG suspension. You know what I mean? It was hard.
Right.
There's only one company that's VG that does VG specifically, VG suspension. There's only one company,
and they still only have about 20% that isn't VG because the way that the concentrate actually breaks down in the VG, it loses flavor. So
yeah, it's pretty good flavor in the VG, but I think that like with White Girl, especially with White Girl, this is 25% flavor because I wanted fucking VG, man. Like I'll put 25% flavoring in that motherfucker if I have to because I want max VG. You know what I mean? I want all VG. You got to add more flavoring. You know, and I've heard a lot of juice makers and shit, and they're like, well, I use PG because like my juice doesn't taste right if I use too much VG, and it's like, up your flavorings, man. You know what I mean? Like, it might cost you a few more cents per bottle, but it's totally worth it. Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
You're about to go.
Right.
You're going robot a little bit, Travis.
I think we're gonna cut it anyways. I think we went about a half an hour too long here. So, thank you everybody for joining me and my wonderful guests. We got Yeti's uncle, we got Skeletor, we got Hessian, the motherfucking man.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and so thank you guys for watching, and keep your coils tight and your buttholes tight
And you sweat.
And your witch wet.
Oh, Josh is gonna fucking kill you guys for stealing his line.
I felt wrong felt wrong saying it. It's not my
I'm doing it as an homage since he's not here.
There you
Much
go.
love
There
to
you
Josh.
We're gonna get
motherfucker.
him on here, man. We gotta get him set up fucking doing these streams with us for sure.
Damn
go. Hell
right.
yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Peace out, everybody.